morning and welcome. Welcome to our Unitarian Universalist Community Church, Church of the Holy Living Room. And as you see in the background, it's also Church of the Holy Living Room that is moving. A week from today, we are packing up and moving to a different home. So I can't find any other background that will not have just a few boxes. So this is it. Welcome, I'm Reverend G, and I am absolutely delighted that you chose to spend this hour with us. We have a wonderful service planned for you. We are going to welcome new members, and we are also going to support Outfront Kalamazoo, this being Gay Pride Month. They are worth supporting every month of the year, though. So welcome to our Unitarian Universalist Church, where we share some values, even though we do not have dogmas. We have some principles that we tend or try to adhere to. It is not mandatory that we adhere to those principles, but we find them true and worthy. And you can find them on our website if you wish to look them up. We also light the chalice every Sunday morning. And if you were to attend a Unitarian Universalist church in this country, at the beginning of their service, they will engage in the very same tradition. We do that because it reminds us of our truth-seeking nature. And this light, this chalice, this light that we light, symbolizes just that, the truth that we all seek. And this is what we all have in common. We may relationship with the divine in our own individual way that is true for us. Some of us are atheists, agnostics. We do not focus on that. What we focus on that is this truth-seeking nature of ours. So please join me in lighting the chalice. And I will say the words, and you're welcome to say them with me if you like. Also, if you have already prepared a chalice at your home, light it with me. In the light of truth and the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share. Nick.
There is a place where you can always go, come with me. Where it's all right to let your feelings show, come with me. What a pleasant journey, isn't very far. We can go together, stay right where you are. And now it's time to start. It's right here in your heart. There is a place where you can be yourself, come with me. And it's a place where you can free yourself, come with me. And you know it's waiting, not so far away, need no reservations, we could go today. And now it's time to start. It's right here in your heart. And the light shines through each window, and the door is open wide, and each question has an answer if you only look inside. There is a place where every sorrow ends, come with me. Where every hope and every truth begins. Come with me. What a pleasant journey, isn't very far. We can go together, stay right where you are. And now it's time to start. It's right here in your heart. And now it's time to start. It's right here in your heart.
And now it's time to start. What a lovely, lovely song. And to me, it signifies the very nature of our beloved community. I have come to this community 4 years ago, and I heard much about the nature of this community, but I hadn't yet experienced it. Since I've experienced it in spades. I've experienced that there is a place really where I can truly come as myself. And so today we are welcoming new members, and you can truly be yourself here. And so we begin. We come together in an attitude of openness, not knowing quite what will happen, yet daring to receive a new idea, a new experience, sustenance for our minds and our hearts. We come with an attitude of praise, expressing our thankfulness for the good that has come into our lives. We come with an attitude of humility, knowing how much we need one another, how alone we can be in the world, how vulnerable if we face life solely by ourselves. We come in the spirit of love, seeking human warmth and fellowship in the hands and hearts of those around us. We come in the spirit of joy, seeking reconfirmation and renewal of life, of love, and of hope. This morning, we are privileged to officially welcome Andy, David, Judy, and Pat as members in our community church. And now, I'll hand it over to our board president, Nancy Calmy.
We trust that you and your active membership will share with us your creative thoughts, your vital experiences in life, your questions and doubts, your discoveries of the many ways in which your life journey affects those people and values which matter most to you. We also trust that you will challenge us with your honesty, will stir us with your conscience, and will stimulate our aspirations of what our lives may become in this community and in the larger world.
Membership in our church signifies support for our UU principles and purposes, and represents an intention to honor the inherent worth and dignity of every person, regardless of race, creed, origin, or life situation. Joining our community is a confirmation for each individual that this place, this space, affords an opportunity to grow together in mutual respect and love. We asked each member to make a video or to provide some words to describe or answer a couple of questions. The first question: for what are you seeking in a spiritual home? And have you found that here? Or how would you like to find it here? They gave us our words, and in the context of our remote services. Miriam did a nice job of putting together a video that expresses and shares those words, and I will play that for you now.
We welcome Pat. Pat writes, I am seeking a community that seeks to understand the important issues of today and yesterday and provides opportunities to improve tomorrow. I am seeking a community that respects diversity, believes in science, and provides space for me to grow and learn on my own individual spiritual journey. I am seeking a space where people know and care about each other. I have found that here. The community is kind and welcoming. Refugee and the lay leaders have provided food for thought and opportunities for action. The congregants are genuinely caring and welcoming. We welcome David. David writes, I am honored and excited to become a member of the Unitarian Universalist Community Church of Southwest Michigan. Here is the culmination and resolution of my many years of struggling with persistent doubts about the divinity of Jesus, the Nicene Creed, and other major tenets of Christian dogma and creeds. I am not an atheist, but I am definitely an agnostic and a dissenter concerning such concepts as an afterlife, biblical inerrancy, salvation, and resistance and denial of valid scientific knowledge. I welcome joining a church community such as the UUCC, which encourages you to seek your own spiritual path and is united by shared values, not creed or dogma. I am happy to belong to a church which confirms and promotes participation in all of its activities without requiring adherence to any religious belief or creed. Therefore, what I do believe is I have found a spiritual home outside Christianity while acknowledging that the UU tradition is rooted in many Judeo-Christian values as expressed in the Hebrew Scriptures and the New Testament. I believe that here I can join the other UUCC members to grow in my own spirituality and help to serve others in the church and outside its walls. I thank all of you for your warm welcome and support. We welcome Judy. Judy writes, my search for a church like this one really started in my home as I was growing up. My mother didn't really participate in organized religion, even though my father's family was involved in Methodism. I guess I learned that beliefs go beyond the traditional church and that many things in our world can be spiritual. I have always been interested in connections and why they happen and what is learned by them. I do believe that everything happens for a reason. I have always been interested in politics and how we can better our society. I have marched in Washington for the Equal Rights Amendment and for gay and lesbian rights. I marched as well on Southwest Niche for gay and lesbian rights in Kalamazoo. I knew after attending this church for about a month, this was a place where I found people of similar beliefs and where there was a lot of support for the congregants. I was part of the start of Phoenix Community Church, United Church of Christ, in 1988. We started as a gay, lesbian, and transgendered church. Through the years, gay, lesbian, and transgendered people have become more accepted in society. I wanted to be part of a church that was not just Christian-focused, but also reflected the composition of the community I lived in, not just one segment of it. In UUCC, I have found a community of people interested in current events and other ways of connecting with the divine. A congregation that loves and supports each other, and for me, there is just a comfortableness about being here. We welcome Andy. Andy writes, "My name is Andy Miller and I live in the Millwood neighborhood of Kalamazoo. I have 2 grown daughters that I am very proud of. My oldest is 34 and owns a very successful hair salon in Seattle. My youngest is 29 and is an ER vet tech here in Kalamazoo. I was raised Episcopalian but did not pursue any kind of religion as an adult because I just could not accept all the dogma of conventional religion. After suffering a number of really hard personal, professional, emotional setbacks in 2019 that included a divorce, I felt very alone and needed a community to help support me. I found that support with UUCC. Even though I only made it to 1 Sunday service at the church prior to the pandemic, I have cherished the connections I have made via Zoom meetings and chats, and I know that I now have an extended community that is helping with my spiritual growth and emotional well-being. I look forward to continuing my spiritual journey with UUCC, and I look very much forward to when we can meet again in person as a group."
Us, through our membership in this community, voluntarily chooses to create greater meaning for ourselves and for others. Our church is a place for making real our most creative possibilities, for understanding and being understood, for the celebration of joys and sorrows, for the sharing of gains and losses. We share in a spiritual quest for that which is most enduring and most relevant in our lives.
Andy, David, Judy, and Pat, will you confirm your affirmation of joining? I joined this church as an affirmation of my commitment to support my fellow congregants. I respect the heritage of this congregation and promise to care for its future. I freely and joyfully accept life in this diverse religious family and pledge to honor every member's perspectives and aspirations. And if so, say I do. And you may want to say, I really, really, really do. So you stay on the screen a little bit longer. Andy.
This is Andy Miller, and I say that I do. I hope that I came across audibly.
Yes, you did. Thank you. David. He is not able to join us via Zoom, so on his behalf, I say, I do. Judy. You're muted, honey. Judy, you're muted. Church of the Holy Zoom.
I have to be an original. I joyfully joined this church.
Oh, thank you, Judy. Pat.
I am very happy to join this church.
Thank you, Pat. And now, on behalf of our congregation, may your life's flame burn brightly so it will be a beacon to others. And may we be reminded that our lives as Unitarian Universalists and as inhabitants of this earth are intertwined and bound together. We are responsible for each other and to each other. We are honored and grateful that you have chosen to be part of this church community. Welcome home. And this concludes our welcoming of our new members. If you are at home, give them a hand of applause to Andy, David, Pat, and Judy. What a joy to expand our family. And so it is. Nick.
Hand in hand, stone by stone, help me build our sacred home. Hand in hand, stone by stone, help me build our sacred home. This house is built on love. This house is built with faith. This house is gonna stand for good forever and a day. Come on down this path with me to the place where the road ends, beyond, beyond, beyond. Hand in hand, stone by stone, help me build our sacred home. Hand in hand, stone by stone, help me build our sacred home. People gonna see us speaking out. People gonna see us holding strong. Everybody gonna sing out loud. Come on, sing along. Come on down this path with me to the place where the road ends, beyond, beyond, beyond. Hand in hand, stone by stone, help me build our sacred home. Hand in hand, stone by stone, help me build our sacred home. It's a church of the open mind. It's a church of the loving heart. It's a church of the helping hand. Everybody plays a part. Come on down this path with me to the place where the road ends, beyond, beyond, beyond. Hand in hand, stone by stone, help me build our sacred home. Hand in hand, stone by stone, help me build our sacred home. I don't need to be afraid of the dark, 'cause you love me the way that I am. Promise me you'll keep showing up again and again and again. Hand in hand, stone by stone, help me build our sacred home. Hand in hand, stone by stone, help me build our sacred home. Hand in hand, stone by stone, help me build our sacred home. Hand in hand, stone by stone, help me build our sacred home.
Well, good morning. And in case you are only joining in now, I am Reverend G, minister at the Unitarian Universalist Community Church on Shaver Road in Portage. And like most churches in this country, we are meeting via Zoom due to this pandemic. So how are you? How are you doing with this pandemic? It's been going on for a while, and some of us are going restless. Some of us are growing callous. Some of us are more daring. Some of us are more isolated. How are you? And just remember, I'm never more than a phone call away. If you ever need support, you ever need to talk to someone, if you ever need to just vent, or you need a sounding board, I'm never more than a phone call away. And I'm good at answering my phone. I'm also very good at returning calls. You can trust me on that. So how are you? Also, it's not just a pandemic in this country. Nothing is normal anymore, is it? The pandemic, of course, is a once in a lifetime as far as we know. But then there is all this upheaval because of the police brutality, and people are marching, and they're marching, and not just in this country. They're marching across the globe. There is something in the air. I believe it was Voltaire who said that an army can be stopped, but an idea whose time has come can never be stopped. And I believe the time has come for this idea that Black Lives Matter, that we need to reform and completely reimagine the policing in this country. Major changes have to be made in the social fabric of our country. So that is going on. the comedian Wanda Sykes said, and those of you who don't know Wanda Sykes, please Google her. This is what she said. The difference between being Black and gay, or lesbian in her case, she said, I never had to tell my parents that I was Black. So being gay, and this is June, and we've assigned June to Pride Month as Pride Month. And then, of course, there are those people who say, why do you need to flaunt your gayness? Why do you need a month? And why would you say that gay lives matter, all lives matter, Black lives matter, all lives matter? And I read somewhere, or I heard, I don't know. I take in information in so many ways that I don't know anymore what comes from where. Although I wish to give credit, this does not originate, this metaphor, I did not originate it. But somebody said, you know, when your house is on fire, and then finally the firemen show up, and then they start spraying the neighbor house. And then you go to them and you say, why are you spraying the neighbor's house? My house is on fire. And then the fireman said, well, all houses matter. It's that. It's that we are experiencing and have been experiencing systematic discrimination for so long that, yes, we have to assert that, hey, our lives matter. And don't judge us by the identity of our gender, by who we love, by who we share our lives with, by who we choose to marry. Judge us by our character. Judge us by our performance. Judge us by our beingness. Don't discredit us because we love differently than you do. And same, of course, goes to Black people, Asian people, brown people, Native Americans. It's that. It's whosever house is on fire, that's who needs the attention. Sure, all houses matter, but the house on fire needs the attention. So yeah, sure, in the generalities, all lives matter. But today, we focus on Black lives. Today, we focus on gay, transgender people, because their house, our house, is on fire. So the struggle for acceptance has been going on for a long time. And it's true that the fabric of our society, Church of the Holy Living Room, and today Patty is at work and she normally takes the dogs for a walk when I do church, but she's working today. So here I am. Anything could happen. The love of dog is among us. And so the struggle has been going on for a long time. And the fabric of our society is changing. And you know what they say, the arc of justice is long and the arc of justice is, I'm messing this up. Anyway, justice happens over time. I'm pulling President Bush here. Justice happens over time. And in most cases, you know, I've noticed that once as a society we embrace a change, we don't tend to go back. I'm sure that there are some people who say, oh, whose idea was it to give women the right to vote? But in general, we're not really disputing that. There may be some people who still today alive, maybe, who resent that we have common fountains for Blacks and whites, but really, there's not really a strong messaging to say we should have separate fountains. So once the change is made, we tend to embrace it and go with it. And then we will find another group to discriminate against, or we will find another reason to discriminate against, and the struggle goes on. However, throughout, the consciousness of the collective raises. So fact is that just this past week, there was a major success. And I am delighted and I am just very happy that in the year 2020, the Supreme Court ruled that gays, lesbians, and transgender people, the LGBTQ community, cannot be fired for their sexual orientation or gender identity. Wow, year 2020. But I guess there had to be a year, and I suppose the year 2020 is a good one. When I first came to this country, and remember, I came from communism, so that's very different system from capitalism. So people would ask me questions. How was health insurance in that country? And I said, well, it was universal. And who paid for it? And it just was never a question I ever pondered. So I said, well, the government. And how did the government come up with the money? And I thought, well, I don't know. It's our taxes, we didn't make that much money, and the government made a lot of money, and they put money towards it. Who paid for the roads? Well, the government. Who paid for everything was the government. So I've been thinking about this today, or as I was preparing for this talk, and what is the government paying for here? And the government is paying to argue against gay rights. The government is arguing against changing police brutality. Now it's changing now in the face of all this upheaval. People finally going to the streets in the tens of thousands across the globe, not just here. But in this country, the government argued at the Supreme Court against gay rights. And that is heart-wrenching. That is a horrible thing. And for those of you who should think that the lesson of this comparison is that I am upholding communism and I'm saying that that's better than capitalism, you're missing the point. You're absolutely missing the point. That is not what I am saying. What I am saying is how outrageous it is that any government would argue against rights, basic rights, like the right to be employed. Imagine that you, being a straight person, never have to wonder whether you were fired for your performance or for your sexuality. For us, that is an issue. And even today, there is a loophole where an employer can come to us and say, Mina, knock it off. Mina, no honey, indoor voices. Sorry about that. When an employer can come and say, well, it's just not a good match. Mina, I'm going to close that door. Well, I apologize for that, but things happen on Zoom. Mina, no. So an employer can still say that, sorry, it's just not a good match. And if you're a gay person, chances are it is because of your sexual orientation. If you're a straight person, then you just know, oh, it's not a good match. I've got to go to a different employer, a different job, where it'll be a better match. For a gay person, you can go to any job and have that same problem because you carry your gay with you. Well, just as you carry your straight with you. So here the government pays to argue against. So then who pays to argue for the rights of gays, lesbians, and transgender, the LGBTQ community? It is us, people. It is you, it is I, it is us. We pay for it. We donate to places like Outfront Kalamazoo, the Gay and Lesbian Resource Center. And then they create programs that support the LGBTQ community, that support the LGBTQ teens who are being kicked out of their homes. Did you know that the largest majority of teens on the street are gay of the LGBTQ community. So they are the ones who create programs to support LGBTQ teens, who support transgender people, who support lesbians, homosexuals, who create counseling opportunities and pay attorneys and struggle for the rights of our kind. So it is you, it is I, it is us. And today, our donations, and I invite you to donate. Today, I invite you to just give of your hard-earned money and give freely and abundantly, because the money that you donate today will go and support Outfront Kalamazoo. We put our mouth and our money where our heart is. So we walk the talk, and we always stand up for the oppressed, for the underdog. And today is just yet another opportunity to support in a way that we certainly know how to. So, yes, give generously. Give generously so one day, hopefully in our lifetime, there will be no need for Gay Pride Month, because there will be no need to struggle for our rights, because our rights will be implied with the rights of every other citizen, regardless of sexual identity, gender, race. Our rights will just be given just by the very right of our birth. What a concept. What a concept that we have equal rights just because we were born in the same country, under the same sky. Until then, however, unfortunately, there needs to be a Gay Pride Month. There needs to be a Black Month. There ought to be a Native American month, Brown People's Month, All Women's Month. We may have the right to vote, but certainly we can say that there's equity in this country. So these are what we are called for. This is the struggle of our day. And I don't know about you, but I get tired. I get really tired. I have a sister who absolutely does not accept me for who I am, and who calls my wife of 10 years that woman. I get very, very tired. So I don't ask you to walk in my shoes, you can't. But I do ask you to support me and my kind. Support us. Support us with your vote. Support us with your money. And sometimes, when you're called for, walk in the streets with us and for us. And for your support, I thank you. I know that Outfront Kalamazoo thanks you. And I know that in fact, you too feel better. Because we all know that when one of us is oppressed, all of us are. So thank you. Okay, so today is a really special day. We welcome new members. We are supporting Outfront Kalamazoo. And we are also honoring our volunteers. I'm going to hand it over to Steve and Denise.
Hi. And we've been charged with making some recognitions to some of the volunteers in our group. Now, I know when you think to this, volunteers, everybody who's a member of our church volunteers and volunteers a lot. And that is absolutely true. If we gave out some recognition for really everybody in the church has done remarkable things over the past church year. And we're grateful for that. And we see this as just simply the beginning of a ongoing period of recognition where we're going to start to recognize people who really kind of step up when things need to be when we need to step up and help out with a variety of different activities. Because as you all know, while we're a small church, we're a mighty church. We engage in a lot of activity for per capita activity. And as Regina said last night at our stewardship dinner, we're a generous group financially, and we're also a generous group with our time. So today we have 8 gifts of recognition that we want to, 8 people we want to recognize who have been really a critical part of our community over the past year in helping a couple of key activities go forward. I'm going to recognize essentially the folks that are out there who are part of our Sunday Services Committee. I don't think anybody on the Sunday Services Committee ever thought, A, that we would be we'd be in a pandemic, and that B, we would be able to transition our Sunday services to an online service with live streaming and in some cases, some complicated programming over such a short period of time. And that is really due to the resourcefulness and dedication and real can-do attitude of our Sunday Services Committee. So these are folks who are stepping off the committee. They've been working for a number of years on that committee. And so I want to recognize 3 people, recognizing also that our non-volunteer staff, Miriam and Reverend G, obviously are critical aspects of our Sunday services, as well as Nick and a number of folks who do things even when we're in live and also in a virtual setting. But these are the people that we want to recognize. Pat Fuhr, who you're going to hear her name a little later as well. Pat Fuhr, Mary Roscoe, for her participation on this group, as well as all of the great things she did this past year in supporting some of the outside activities, and as well as Lauren Ritter, who just quietly and gets the job done every week in a variety of ways. So I want to congratulate those. You will be receiving a small token. We're not going to tell you what's in this little pink bag, but there's going to be something in that pink bag for you. Thank you really from the bottom of our heart for everything that you've done over this past year. Denise?
So I've been charged with also recognizing a few individuals. This church year, in addition to the whole pandemic, we've had some changes and new challenges. And one of the new activities that we started over the past year was adopting a refugee family. And as you can imagine, trying to acclimate a family of 6 from a very different culture with a completely different language has its own challenges. You know, as we all know, it takes a village. And this was very uncharted waters for us. This is not something that our church had ever taken on before. We weren't sure exactly what we were getting into, but there were 6 individuals. There were many individuals actually that stepped up and contributed and did wonderful things and really opened their arms. But there are just 6 individuals that I want to kind of recognize as doing a little bit more special things that, like I said, was difficult because, like I said, it's uncharted and it's a little awkward trying to get to know a family that you're not quite sure what their needs are. These needs tended to snowball. So, we started with things like we thought were obvious things like transporting, doing some tutoring, some English language teaching. But it just went on to grocery shopping and cleaning and teaching how to cook and teaching how to drive and getting involved with applications to get the family into the YMCA or get the kids into camps or into sports activities, communicating with educators from the KPS. So it just kind of went on and on and on. And like, you just don't realize all the amount that all the needs that can be required in such an endeavor. And these individuals also, through their constant regular attention, really developed their own relationship with the family to the point where the family was contacting them directly for questions or requests. So they were kind of fielding a lot of extra little side activities just to kind of accomplish all of the stuff that was required. So I just want to thank everyone who helped with this family over the last year. Everybody did a little part and is greatly appreciated. But these 6 individuals, I just want to give a little extra thank you to, and that is Marsha Leah, Darby Fetzer, Peggy Klossing, Pat Fuhr, Pat Tim, and Regina Nelson. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. You guys have done a wonderful, wonderful job, and the family is so grateful and appreciative.
Thank you, Steve and Denise. Steve, were you going to say something else? No. Thank you, Steve and Denise, and thank you, volunteers. We're grateful to you. And so now, I'm sure it will appear in your text, in your little chat. Please make your checks payable to Unitarian Universalist Community Church, UUCC, and mail it to 10441 Shaver Road, Portage, Michigan 49024. And I'm pretty sure that Miriam, who is always Johnny on the spot, has already, or Jane on the spot, has already typed it into our chat. Or you can go online, and this link will also appear in our chat, to Give Plus. In the memo of your check, please specify that this donation is to benefit Outfront Kalamazoo. And then when you go to Give Plus, which is an app, you can get it on your cell phone. Please also, there's going to be a memo for you, and you will be able to specify that the money you're donating will benefit Outfront Kalamazoo. And thank you for your generous support. Nick.
And it hurts sometimes to live this life. Some days I'd rather just run and hide. Maybe then the pain would hide as well. Maybe then I could protect myself. But who's gonna win? Is that really living? Oh, I wish I didn't know that the answer is no, nobody would win. 'Cause I could close my eyes and pretend I don't see. I could close my mind and pretend that I'm free. But my soul knows the truth. Life means stepping back in. I'm gonna open my heart heart again. Man, it hurts sometimes when I've done wrong. Some days I'd rather just move on. Maybe then I wouldn't have to cry. Maybe then I could protect my pride. But who's gonna win? Is that really living? Oh, I wish I didn't know that the answer is no, nobody would win. 'Cause I could close my eyes and pretend I don't see. I could close my mind and pretend that I'm free. But my soul knows the truth. Life means stepping back in. I'm gonna open my heart. I could close my eyes and pretend I don't see. I could close my mind and pretend that I'm free. But my soul knows the truth, that life means stepping back in. I'm gonna open my heart again.
Thank you, Nick. That was wonderful. I hope I'm unmuted. That's the Zoom live. Are we muted? Are we not? Is this on? Is this not? We also blow out the chalice at the end of our service. However, we are reminded that we can carry this flame in our hearts and that truth seeking that it symbolizes. So will you say the words with me if you like, and if you have a chalice at home that you've lit, blow it out, put it out with us. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. You have so much power. You have such a beautiful, big heart. Use them both for good. Use them both for justice. Have them both serve that which is honorable, that which is kind, compassionate, and supportive of all life. You. And so it is. Thank you for joining us. Have a lovely, lovely afternoon.